Have you ever imagined a train being robbed in the dead of night without a single shot fired? Tonight we take you back to August 8, 1963, when Britain witnessed the greatest train robbery of its history. This wasn't just a crime, it was months of planning, precision, and daring execution. August 1963. Glasgow Central Station stands cold and indifferent, a night like any other, or so it seemed. But on the platform, a dark leviathan breathes. The Royal Mail train, huffing steam into the swirling cosmic mist. Inside its iron ribs, a fortune lies waiting. Millions of pounds stacked high in shadows that feel heavier than lead. Every seal, every sack, carries the weight of a fate already written in the ink of history. Jack Mills, a man of routine and steady hands, prepares for the haul. He sees only the track ahead, unaware of the gathering darkness. With a pull of the iron throttle, the engine roars a low, mechanical growl echoing through the distorted night. The train glides into the skeletal shadows of the city, leaving behind the safety of the platform for the unknown. Into the thick fog it vanishes, its red tail lights a fading heartbeat. The journey that changed history has begun. The iron monster screams as it grinds to a halt. In the dead of night, silence is the loudest warning. Conductor Jack Mills didn't plan for this stop. The lever is cold, heavy, and final. Ahead, a signal glows like a bleeding eye through the unnatural fog. Red, a color that wasn't supposed to be here. Outside, the air feels wrong. There are no stations for miles, only the hollow echo of the engine's dying pulse. The landscape has changed. The rocks twist into shapes that defy nature, watching the metal beasts stall in their domain. Time is slipping. According to the logbook, the track should be clear, but the watch ticks like a heartbeat. Under the belly of the beast, the shadows are moving. They are part of a meticulously calculated plan. Months of preparation, blueprints sketched in secret, all leading to this single, silent moment of stillness. Intent hides behind masks. Cold eyes reflect the crimson warning, waiting for the perfect second to strike. The heist isn't just a crime. It's a surgical strike against the unknown in this cosmic wilderness. As the darkness swallows the world, the red signal is the last thing to die. The heist begins. The mastermind, Bruce Reynolds, gathered his team in a dimly lit room thick with swirling eldritch mist. His eyes, sharp and calculating, scanned the blueprints with absolute focus. He was joined by experienced criminals known as the South Coast Raiders, men whose grim expressions mirrored the gravity of the task. Every movement was a calculation, every map a step closer to the impossible. An insider at Royal Mail had provided them sensitive information delivered in the dead of night. The intelligence pinpointed the high-value package carriage, the heart of the train's treasure. As the old steam locomotive chugged through the desolate landscape, a surreal, cosmic sky watched from above. The raiders waited in the tall grass, their presence hidden by the ominous glow of the moon. Their mission: to rob the train without firing a single shot. Bruce gave the silent signal. The train screeched to a sudden halt, its metal frame groaning under the weight of the heist. High-value packages were moved into the darkness as the cosmic mists thickened around them. The mastermind disappeared into the fog, leaving behind a legacy of the most strategic heist in history. The iron heart of the locomotive thunders through a landscape forgotten by God, shrouded in an eternal, heavy fog. Above, the sky swirls with the colors of a cosmic nightmare, a bruised purple and sickly green glow that defies nature. In the silence of the moors, the sabotage begins. Skeletal hands reach from the shadows to claim the iron path. Their touch sparks with an unnatural green flame as they sever the train's last link to the world beyond. Deep within the thicket, eyes that glow with a faint, violet rot watch and wait. The hunters have found their prey. The heist crew, masked and carrying rusted tools of destruction, prepares for the inevitable kill in the rhythmic dark. Inside the cab, the engineer feels a chill in his bones. The gauges are failing, and the heat of the fire is dying. The signals are dark, and the iron beast grinds to a halt with a hiss that sounds like a final dying breath. From the suffocating mist, the architect of this terror emerges. The train has stopped, but the nightmare is only beginning. Silhouetted against the blinding headlight, the shadows are finally claiming their prize. Welcome to the end of the line. Deep within the fold of time and space, a lonesome steam engine chugs through an eternal gray void landscape. But tonight, the cargo isn't the only thing traveling. Something ancient and unsettling waits within the swirling cosmic mists. Shadowy figures, their forms flickering like static, begin to materialize against the cold iron skin of the moving train. Inside the cab, Jack Mills feels a sudden, unnatural chill. He is a man weary from years of normal service. As he turns, a blunt, shadowy force strikes. Dark mists swallow his consciousness before he can utter a sound. His assistant is pinned against the freezing metal, his eyes wide with a dread that no human should witness. Outside, the heist reaches its climax. Shadowy claws reach for the heavy iron couplings that bind the train together. With a violent, metallic shriek, the first two carriages are severed, drifting into the hungry, dark fog behind them. The engine surges forward, unburdened and alone, accelerating into a landscape where the stars themselves seem to scream. The great heist of the void is complete. The engine vanishes, leaving only a chilling echo in the silence. August 1963. A heavy, unnatural silence descends upon the tracks as a lone steam engine rumbles through the night. Through a thick, swirling fog, the iron beast cuts a path toward Brodego Bridge, unaware of the ambush waiting in the gloom. A false signal flashes red. The train groans to a screeching halt, its metallic cries echoing beneath the stone pillars. From the swirling mist, shadows take form, silent, calculated men emerging like phantoms under the cold moonlight. They move with clockwork precision, a human chain formed against the backdrop of the desolate, eerie countryside. Bag after bag, they haul the high-value mail from the carriages, working in a feverish, rhythmic dance of crime. Inside, a king's ransom. Over £2 million in cold, hard cash, destined to disappear into the night. 128 bags are swiftly loaded onto waiting trucks, hidden by the deep, supernatural gloom. As the steam dissipates into the eldritch sky, they vanish, leaving behind only the tracks and the heist of the century. In the depth of a dimly lit basement, a fortune lay hidden, but shadows of dread were already gathering in the corners. The heist was a success, yet for the mastermind, paranoia was the only guest at the table, his eyes darting toward the stairs. To pass the heavy hours, they turned to a game of chance, using the very loot they had risked everything for as currency. A small mistake would later expose them. Fingerprints left on a Monopoly game played with real money. At the time, the robbers were unaware that this tiny error would become their undoing, lost in a moment of false security. Far from the shadows, in the cold light of justice, an investigator began to peel back the layers of their crime. Under the harsh glow of a UV lamp, the invisible became undeniable, a glowing mark of their hubris left on the board. Every line of the print told a story of greed, signaling an impending doom that no amount of stolen cash could avert. The mists of their sanctuary were finally shattered as the weight of the law crashed through the door, flooding the dark with light. A single fingerprint, a simple game, and a legacy lost to the swirling shadows of fate. The engine roared against the heavy silence of the night as they fled down the coast. Above, a swirling cosmic purple sky watched their retreat. The driver gripped the wheel, sweat beading on his forehead as the narrow road wound through the thick, unnatural fog. Beside him, the leader sat in cold, focused silence. Every shadow cast by the eldritch moon seemed to stretch and distort around them. They were 43 kilometers away from the city, listening to the static-filled police reports crackling through the old VHF radio. The car pulled into a decaying stone barn, hidden deep within a grove of ancient, twisted trees that seemed to whisper in the dark. They stumbled out into the mist, clutching heavy, ink-stained duffel bags. The weight of their prize was far heavier than expected. Inside the hideout, the heavy dumped a mountain of cash onto the table. The notes shimmered with a faint, unnatural green glow. The leader leaned over the radio, hearing the police describe the search area far behind them. A dark smirk spread across his face. Tension snapped into reckless celebration. They began to laugh, throwing the glowing bills into the air like confetti. In their madness, they built towers of money that shouldn't have stood. The very laws of the world seemed to bend for them. They were confident they had escaped. But outside, the fog closed in completely, sealing them in their own frantic, dark celebration.
आपको बताने जा रहा हूं कि किस तरह आप एक हॉरर स्टोरी क्राइम स्टोरी वीडियोस बना
The hideout, a rented leather slate farmhouse, stood alone under a heavy swirling sky of cosmic dread. This was the end of the line. As the raid began, police moved through the shifting shadows. The great train robbers had nowhere left to run. Inside, the investigation found chilling traces of their stay. A discarded Monopoly game sat abandoned in the dim, dusty light. On its glossy surface, clear fingerprints told a story the robbers thought they had successfully hidden from the world. Piles of empty, rugged canvas bags lay strewn across the floor, dark, cavernous remnants of the massive heist they had committed. Outside, heavy transport trucks stood like silent, metallic monoliths, bogged down in the thick mud and the encroaching fog. The net closed quickly. Rapid silhouettes of men were apprehended, looking insignificant against the vast, ominous sky of the English countryside. With the final click of steel, the investigation reached a swift conclusion. The era of the great train robbers was over. Within days, 14 of the 16 robbers were arrested. The farmhouse remains a silent witness, retreating into the inescapable dark mist. In the cold aftermath of the heist, the scales of justice tipped heavily against the gang. The robbers received 30-year sentences for their crimes. The location of the crime has been forever transformed by that night. Today, Bridego Bridge is known as Train Robbers Bridge. It stands as a grim monument, a symbol of meticulous planning and a daring heist that shocked the nation and the world. But the heist left scars that never truly healed. Jack Mills, the driver, never returned to work after his injuries. His quiet struggle served as a reminder of the human cost hidden behind the headlines of the sensational robbery. Decades later, the story remains a legendary chapter in criminal history, a tale of greed, shadows, and missing millions. As the fog rolls over the Buckinghamshire countryside, the legacy of the great train robbery continues to haunt the tracks of time.